Hello, everybody, and welcome in to episode 75 of the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast. I am Lucas Dorton. That is Nick Doetkott, as you can tell. It has been a minute since both of us have been together on the same podcast. I've had to write it solo here. I've had to write it solo with some guest hosts here for a bit, but
the fans probably appreciated not seeing me for a while.
Well, I know I appreciate it. I mean, I have to live with you every day, so they don't know that pain.
I had to come on for the milestone 75th,
That's right. Yeah, here to collect a check and then keep moving.
You bet.
Okay. Well, as long as we establish that, we can probably move on there. So, folks, this is a little bit different from the podcast that we're going to be doing too. I'll get to our guest shortly. We're going to be doing a little bit of a town ball segment. Now, folks, town ball is a pretty awesome thing where Nick and I live in Minnesota and just kind of the Midwest in general. But Minnesota is kind of the mecca of town ball. Now, you may be asking, Lucas, what is town ball? Well, listener 500, town ball is pretty neat because most every single town in Minnesota has a baseball team. It's like, okay, cool. Why is that neat? Well, because you can be 50 years old and starting on the mound, or you can be 18 out there. So town ball is 14. Baseball. You could be 14. That's true. Town ball is baseball in its purest form. People are playing it because they enjoy it, and it's been a long-standing tradition for a long, long time. So we're going to dive into that a little bit. We're going to be talking mainly with as many town ball players as we can, but Nick and I do play town ball. We are donning the blue Arlington baseball. Nick's got the Arlington hat, but our guest today,
Debate shirt, baby.
Yep, Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast. Shout out Pam and Julia Dorton for making that. That was a sweet gift. So appreciate that. But our other guest, he has been quietly, patiently waiting to be introduced. So without further ado, another member of the Arlington A's, none other than Mr. Shane O'Mac, Shane Olson. Shane, how we doing?
Sorry, I missed the memo on my A's gear. I probably should have just thrown the hat on just for good luck, honestly.
just throw a catcher's mask on and call it good.
Oh, that would have been good.
Oh, man. Just done the whole podcast wearing your entire catcher's gear.
Just put the uniform on and everything. Just got the cleats on, romping around the house.
Yeah. I'm sure the missus would be fine with you walking around with metal spikes.
I'm sure.
Oh, that's good stuff. Shane, thank you for joining us. I certainly appreciate it. And pretty cool because you're the first official town ball member to be joining the Dorton and Doetkott Debate Podcast talking about town ball.
Thank you for having me, and for the self-proclaimed backup to the backup catcher. I'm honored to be the first town ball represented guest.
Shane, do not sell yourself too short here, okay? I got to pitch a lot more this year, and I think you are the catcher that has predominantly caught me the most. So take what you will with that the lesser of the three Lucases on the team, you get to catch the most.
Yeah, how is it catching those ephyses all day long?
He makes it pretty easy, especially when he comes in and has to clean up an inning from time to time.
You probably have do you bring your phone up there and set like a timer after it goes off that you're going to have to start getting ready to catch Lucas's pitch that's just floating there?
Listen, when the ball takes 8 full seconds to get to the plate, it's pretty easy for me to kind of figure out what's coming.
Oh man. By the time I release the ball, you can go up and get a curtsy burger and then come back.
This is just going to be full of inside bits that nobody understands.
Yeah, right. I can tell you this. I don't want to face Lucas. I would be so far in front of that deuce. I think it would take me one pitch to strike out. I'd swing and miss 3 times on.
But also, Nick, keep in mind, he would throw everything at your knees, and you don't swing at anything above your belly button.
That's right. If
That's
it's
true.
not up here.
Yeah,
As the shirt
What
would
was that
say,
saying,
my
Shane?
wheelhouse is above my shoulders.
Yes,
correct.
that's right. Yes, we still need to get these shirts.
Oh God.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So Shane, like I said, definitely thank you for coming on. We're gonna have some fun today, so I'm certainly looking forward to these conversations. But walk me through a little bit about your baseball playing career. Obviously, you are not an Arlington person through and through, though. You did grow up elsewhere, and you watched other games growing up.
I did. I am I grew up a Jordan Brewers fan, which that is gonna immediately ruffle the feathers of most of the team. But hey, we got real close. We only lost to them by 5 in Jordan this year. Which I think is the closest that game has been in a long time. I know Nick has never beat them.
I think it's like 0 for 22 or something.
I know. I don't believe that Dan Chess has ever beat them.
Yeah, it's been a while.
And he is the longest tenured Arlington A by a long distance.
Yeah, it's been a while.
If he did beat him, it was probably his first or second year. So I grew up a Jordan Brewers fan in Jordan. I grew up 4 blocks from the ballpark in Jordan. So it's really if it was a Tuesday or a Sunday, I'm at that park, man.
Gorgeous.
It really is.
Absolutely amazing.
It's kind of a thing too. It's Jordan has kind of been a miniature baseball factory for a really, really long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, the kids turn out to that game, and I was one of those kids for 15 years of my life. So it's really like you kind of said earlier, Dorton. Townball is really truly the purest form of baseball. It's a bunch of dudes who have regular jobs who just want to go play ball.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's always been a really cool thing that this form of baseball exists. And there are like 500 teams in the state of Minnesota too. So almost every town will have a team that represents them. So it's really cool when everybody turns out to represent their town's colors.
Yeah, I mean, there's literally some towns with like a population of like 15, and they have a town team.
And everybody in town plays on that team.
There's actually one team that's really good the last couple of years. I think it's Bluffton. They're like half their team is like Dykhoff's, Bischoff or something. There's like 3 last names that basically their whole team consists of 3 last names, and they're really good. I'm like, okay, that's impressive. By the way, for anybody who doesn't know, Arlington, who we all play for, our water tower is literally a baseball. Like,
yeah,
our town is known for baseball as well. We aren't quite in our heyday now, but historically it's a baseball town, as are a lot of towns in Minnesota, and people take it pretty serious.
Well, the Doetkott name is a pretty household name there. I from what I've heard, the elder statesman Doetkott got convinced to play there for a job, and that's how you got to be there.
Yes, we are actually Arlingtonites or Arlingtonians. I don't even know what we're called, because my grandpa was very good at baseball. They basically gave him a job at the lumberyard to go play for the A's, and Al Doetkott is now in the Arlington A's Hall of Fame, where I will not be one day.
Oh, stop it!
Selling yourself too short there.
And my brother and my dad and my uncle all played for the A's as well.
Oh, I didn't know your dad did. I didn't realize that.
He did, not for that long. He kind of blew out his arm, and then he just kind of stuck with softball. But yeah,
gotcha. So Shane, back to you though. So running around, were you one of the kids chasing the foul balls to get a quarter or something towards your concessions?
Listen, you brought a foul baseball up to that concession stand, and they gave you an ice cold Mountain Dew.
Heck
oh
yeah.
wow!
So by the end of the
Shane
night,
was just hopped up on the dews.
By the end of the night, I'm 9 years old. I've had 15 Mountain Dews, and I don't sleep for 3 days.
He was ready for 27
Shane,
innings.
Yeah. So I gotta ask then, was 10-year-old Shane faster than current Shane running home to first?
So much faster. so much faster. Listen, dude, I'm almost 32 years old. I am not built for speed. I'm also a catcher who are historically also not built for speed. Things don't change.
I think we need a combine day this year at practice. I need to see everyone's 40 time.
Ugh, I don't want to see
I
mine.
need Shane versus Lucas versus Agri versus Recky.
Ugh. I proposed a home to first run. I proposed a home to first run between me, Reiki, and Agri, and both of them said no. So by default, I think I win that.
They're scared, Shane.
That's fair, Shane. I think you have them shaking in their boots. I think of that crew, though, I would feel confident in myself.
I would as well.
I think I would, too.
Yeah. I got an inside the park home run our last softball game of the season.
Yeah, such a Mickey Mouse home run.
Oh, Mickey Mouse. Hey, I am the epitome of speed.
It goes on the stat card the same.
It's a home run. It looks the same in the newspaper the next day.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The newspaper that covers Mankato slow pitch softball.
Slow pitch men's league.
Hey, that's headline news, man.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So have you always been a catcher then, Shane, or have you ever dabbled in any other positions?
So I primarily started catching when I was a 5th grader. My dad, everybody growing up wants to be a pitcher. They want to be the strikeout king. They want to throw that 5-foot curveball that comes in. My dad was talking to me one day. He goes, "You shouldn't be a pitcher. You should be a catcher, because if you're a catcher, you touch the ball on every single play, and you learn how to call a game, and you learn how to call a good game, and sometimes you won't call a good game, but that's also how you learn then." And he told me that, and I'm just like, well, that sounds fun. Plus, I get to put all the cool gear on, and you really you are the quarterback of the defense on baseball. So that's kind of how that started. But yeah, I wanted to be a pitcher forever.
You dabbled at third too, didn't you?
A little bit. I in summer ball, I would always moonlight as a third baseman. But that was only because when I was playing, when I was a kid, I had the strongest arm on the team.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of a matter of just get in front of the ball, get it in your hand, and throw it to first as fast as you can.
Absolutely. Well, that's good stuff. Now, did your dad, did he play baseball growing up then too?
No, my dad's short and fat.
Hey, there's room for some of those players.
And listen, I only say that because once this is posted, I'm going to send it to him, and I will take any opportunity I can to rip my dad in public because he knows I love him to death.
That's hilarious.
Hey, Astadio had a job in MLB.
You're damn right he did. You're damn right he was.
I'm at the end of the Bell Plain game last year in Bell Plain. I went to Dairy Queen with my grandparents, and I seen your dad there. And I can't remember if he asked me something or I asked him something because he's seen the A's clothing or whatever. And I didn't know he was your dad at the time. And it didn't take me long. He's like, "Oh yeah, Shane's my kid," and I'm like, "Yeah, I totally see that one." Yep. I was not shocked one bit.
Old Kenny Olson's an icon.
Kenny, the GOAT.
Yep.
Kenny.
Yeah. Oh, that's good stuff. So, growing up, what were some premier matchups? Being a Jordan Brewer fan, what were some of the key rivalries when you were going to the games?
Jordan Bell Plain. Honestly, that Jordan Bell Plain. I mean that runs so deep into like middle school. Just because growing up, we were in the same conference. I think it's changed since I was playing high school ball. But I mean, we would start playing against each other in 4th grade.
Okay.
So it was 4th grade to senior year. We're learning to just despise each other.
Yeah, even all the way through my high school years, Sibley East obviously or me, but Sibley East, Bell Plain, and Jordan were always in the same. So they've been playing each other for years. It's just until like 3 years ago, Jordan moved to Wright County, and Bell Plain. I'm not even sure where they're at now, but they might be moving with Jordan again. I'm not even positive, but up until like 3 years ago, they were with each other. Yeah.
Yeah. So that I mean, just to put it into perspective, when Belle Plaine beat Jordan this year, they took a picture of the scoreboard and made it their Twitter header.
Yep.
And it's the first time they've beat them in 15 years.
I think we should do the same thing if we beat Jordan.
Correct.
But, like the Belle Plaine losing streak versus Jordan and the current Arlington A's losing streak we have to Jordan is basically the Twins versus anybody in the playoffs up until 2 months ago. Like,
100%.
It's just an endless spree of just embarrassments. But I've gone from getting 10 run every single time to at least coming somewhat remotely close. And hey, if they didn't put me on the mound last time we faced them, we would have only lost by like 2.
Yep. Now listen. Now,
out and 2 pitches later, there's a light tower shot. All right, cool.
Now we're only going to talk about our game against Jordan, the first game. We're not going to talk about the second game because the second game we did get 10 run, but the first game we only lost by 5.
You know, I hit a double off the wall against him once upon a time.
See, great. We're raising banners here.
I pitched the bottom third of an inning against Jordan in Jordan this year and didn't give up a runner. Went 1, 2, 3.
I caught that. I caught that inning.
That was right after yours truly allowed a dinger.
Correct. I also caught that one.
You should have caught the dinger. You wouldn't have hit that. You should just reached it out and grabbed it.
We just talked about how fast I am not.
Yeah, well, I was just about to say the same thing.
Honestly, though, now that I think of it, that one was not a light tower power shot. That was Beckman. Yeah, that one was like a 315-foot pop-up over the fence. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. I mean, they all count the same.
Call back already. They all go on the stat book the same.
But I'm like, gosh.
Yep.
Oh, that's good stuff. That's good stuff. So growing up then, Joe Mauer, was he your guy then, you being a catcher?
He was. So another story about, this is a year or two after I decided that I wanted to be a catcher. I was in 6th grade and, on the school monitor TV thing that just kind of shows all the information throughout the day. I saw one for a baseball clinic and I had to go see a specific teacher to go get the sheet to sign up. He was I think the B squad varsity coach at the time. So I walk into his classroom, ask him about it. It is some clinic information for St. Thomas Academy. So I bring it home. My parents look at it. They're like, yeah, let's do it. So it's in like December. And as it gets closer and closer, we get some more information about it. Turns out that it is put on by the Mauer family. Right. So it's Joe, it's his brothers, Billy and Jake, and I think their dad was there too.
Probably.
And then just a couple other coaches that they have known just throughout their years of playing ball in the state. So it's just a pitchers and catchers clinic. I show up. I'm one of 9 catchers as opposed to 16 pitchers. So it is, there's 9 of us there. There's 4 or 5 coaches there. And one of the coaches is Joe. The year before he makes his major league debut.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So they had just traded AJ Pierzynski to San Francisco. Yeah, San Francisco.
Francisco Ariano, Booth Bonser, and Joe Nathan. Great trade.
Best trade.
Booth Bonser.
Maybe the best trade the Twins have ever made.
It's a good trade.
So when I say that Joe Mauer taught me how to play baseball and how to be a catcher, I mean that as literally as possible.
Well, then why aren't you batting 400, Shane?
Nick, I am almost 32 years old, and I took a 13-year break in the middle of that.
Sounds like a you problem.
Right.
It absolutely is a me problem. And for what it's worth, I've never been good at the plate. I was always just good enough behind the plate to keep my job.
There you go. That's all that I need. We all know, Lucas, how many at-bats did you have this year?
Boy, less than 10 probably.
That's all right. You guys you're the battery. I'll go out there and at least try to not strike out every time.
Perfect. But Nick, when you make contact, it's usually just a missile.
Well, Nick is sitting fastball and swinging out of the shoe.
It's always hit hard. It's just a matter of where it's hit.
Yeah, I mean, my problem is like I don't strike out that much. It's just I'm like too aggressive, right? Like I'm like it's either hit it fair or miss. Like I don't have it in me to just foul off a ball, and I got to, right? It's like I can hit anything, and it's kind of a blessing and a curse. Oh, it's 10 feet above my head. Let's swing at that thing.
Just throw the bat at it.
I swung. I mean, I quite honestly might have swung at a pitch that would have hit me in the face this last. It's no surprise I've been hit by the pitch one time in the last 6 years.
Man.
You know, it is.
Yeah, one of my handful of at-bats this year, I got hit in the thigh. I remember that.
Yeah.
I walk up to the plate, and the catcher's like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Brother, we're just getting creamed. I don't care." Like, this will be one of my 5 at-bats in the season. He was like, "What do you want?" I'm like, "Throw whatever." And then first one throw just
he asked you
just a filthy slide, just a filthy slider. I mean, filthy. Stand there, look at it, and I literally was like, "Well, that was cool." And then he was like, "Shouldn't have let me call the pitches. Shouldn't let me call the pitches." Next pitch hits me in the thigh. I'm like, "Okay."
What game was this?
I don't even remember, but it was a game to where we were losing enough to where I had an at bat.
It had to have been the Bell Plain game in Arlington. God, that game sucked.
I don't know.
God, that game just sucked.
It was probably like, God, I swear, I kind of vividly remember or vaguely remember you saying that, but
I don't think it was a league game.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't think it was. I'm trying to think what non-league team we played. We know it wasn't Prior Lake because Lucas shut them bad boys down.
Dang right I did.
Yeah, I don't know, but that's kind of funny.
Yeah, so my 3-year on base streak continues just by simply getting hit by the pitch.
Didn't you get a hit like your first ever at bat or second?
Yeah, I think I walked my first at bat in Cleveland, and then my second at bat, I swung at a Nick Doetkott fastball at the shoulders, and just got under that, hit just a rainbow of a pop fly that for whatever reason the left fielder was playing back far enough to where it was able to drop in front of him.
Yep,
so
Lucas has Cleveland's number. Lucas is Mount Rushmore of teams. He's their daddy of Cleveland, Prior Lake. B team.
Still Prior Lake.
Brownton. And who's number 4?
Well, I don't know. I did okay against Bell Plain our last game of the season this year.
You did. You really did.
All right. We'll put Bell Plain on there. So many Bell Plain boys watching. Lucas coming to get you.
I didn't say that. I did not say that. That was all
by them this year.
He was thinking it though.
That was all Nick.
Can't wait for Doetkott to just go 500 feet dead center past the flagpoles on you now.
Yeah, after I leave my 45 mile an hour hanging curveball, it's to oblivion. Yeah, that would be my luck. I just have to find just to show you folks.
Where'd you go?
This is the ball. My first career and only career Townball hit.
You have the ball?
I have the ball. This is my only career Townball hit.
To my dog.
That's amazing. I don't have mine.
Yeah, I don't even have mine for my home run ball, man. I never got.
I have a note from Trevor Schrupp. I never doubted you.
Did you do when you got on base? Did you do the ball thing?
Jokingly. So I got to first. So
Okay.
I got to first, and I was just like, I did this. I'm thinking like, I really hope they don't actually get the ball because this is gonna be some clown stuff. And then I think Righty came out and was like, "Oh, can we get that ball?" I'm just sitting there like, son of a. So that's the story of how I had the ball, and like most of the team signed it.
That's actually amazing.
Shane, I would laugh. Like, first time Lucas pitches next year, an umpire we've never had before. As soon as he gets a guy out, just be like, "Hey, umpire, can we get that ball?" That's the first time he's ever got a guy out on the mound.
I can probably make that happen.
Because
you know,
we got
like,
the junkyard dog on here.
If Dorton's on the hill, I'm probably behind the dish.
Right? You guys
But,
have
I
a
mean,
battery that's meant to be.
I guess.
Likely. Yeah, like I said, this is my third year on the team. Austin Brockhoff, who is one of our main catchers, this was the first year that he had caught me, and it was for like, I don't know, a couple innings. He was the only catcher that never caught me. Everyone else had before.
Yeah, and I swear I have a different one every time. It's between you, obviously, Bullard, and Brockhoff. I swear it's a different one every time. But that's fine. You're all good.
Yeah, absolutely. Anywho, so diving into a little more Arlington baseball. So Shane, walk us through the whole well, I mean, obviously not how'd you find Arlington, you know about Arlington, but what was the process like into now becoming a member of the Arlington A's?
So I'll be honest, I slid into Reiki's DMs and basically asked him if I could be on the team. So it was about, I think it was halfway through the season that you guys were currently in.
That's right.
And he just responded and said, "Yeah, come to practice this day." I came to practice. I didn't suck as a human. And basically just say, "Yep, I can't give you a jersey this year because it's past the signing deadline, but you're on next year if you like it." And the rest is history. It's kind of a thing where I've always wanted to be on a town ball team.
Yeah.
But, before I lived in an area that wasn't really conducive for it. I had a job that kind of wouldn't really work with the schedule. And then we buy the house in Arlington proper. And I just happened to live 5 blocks away from the ballpark.
Former Arlington A, Matt Nagel.
And it's kind of a thing where whoever lives in the house that we bought has to politically lean a certain way and play baseball and be in the trades. So it just kind of worked out. And yeah, it's just, I found out that like 5 people on the team have lived in my house. One of them took a leak in what is now our bedroom.
Like, instead of the Heisman house on those commercials, This is like the Arlington A's house.
Yep. Shout out Tyler Agri.
Yeah.
And
wait, Agri lived there?
Yeah, Agri lived here.
Noggle.
And I think Chess lived here for a little bit.
Did Agri live there? Maybe. I think Bryce might have lived with Noggle, if nothing.
That could be. I tell people what house I bought. It's like, "Oh, you bought Noggle's house." I'm like, "Apparently I bought Noggle's house." What? Please tell me something that I don't know about my house. And then they just go into this story about how they threw up in the basement and then and slept on the deck and pissed in my bedroom and so but yeah, so when we bought the house, it just kind of I had the availability. I had no idea how to sign up to be on a town ball team. Turns out it's pretty easy to get on a baseball team. You just kind of got to know who the coach is, find them on Twitter, and slide into their DMs.
Hey.
So, there you go, folks, for all the listeners out there.
Yeah, shoot your shot.
We'll just give out Alex's Twitter handle.
Right. But yeah, and before that, it's like I hadn't been on a organized baseball team or any baseball team in almost 15 years. At the time, it was 13. And I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
I remember Recky saying something about like a dude from Jordan wants to play. Yeah. And I just remember thinking, all right, dude from Jordan, I like what I hear.
Yep. So I mean, it just sucks for you guys that you got the one that hadn't played baseball in forever. But technically, yes, dude from Dorton wanted to play for the A's.
So walk me through that then. For not having played in 13 years, what was that process like for you to kind of get back to, obviously mentally baseball wise, watching it versus playing it is two different things. And then the physical side of it too. So like, what was your process, and then like, how did those things go for you getting back into it?
So knowing that season was coming up, I had catcher's gear that I owned, knowing that I was going to buy some new gear. So in the process of waiting to get the new gear, threw the old gear on, had 4 or 5 buddies just go to a park and let me remember how to physically be behind the plate. Block ball. I mean, try to block balls, and then and just like a lot of it was stance, like learning a new stance, remembering the old stance, and kind of trying to be prepared for both the mental and the physical game. Because again, it's commanding a game is not the easiest thing to do in the world.
Right.
So I remember, do you wear knee savers?
I do.
I don't see, even with I had to wear knee savers if I ever caught, but I don't know how you guys do it. I just can't. My knees just kill me, man.
You know what? The most surprising thing is, like, my knees aren't very good, but apparently they're better than I thought they were, because it never killed me. Like, I never had a game or a day after a game that I caught all 9 innings. I never had that, like, I feel like I'm gonna die moment. Thankfully, I don't know if that means I didn't work hard enough or I stretched properly, but going into the first Townball game, we played at Waverly.
Gosh, that dugout.
Oh,
yes.
I remember that one.
The porcelain tile dugout.
Lucas remembers the phone call we had on the way home too.
Yeah, I do. Shout out the elder Doetkott.
Oh, that was funny. I'll tell you about that one, Shane. That was great.
I am dying to know what the hell you're talking about. But going into that game, I'm just kind of looking at the roster of who's coming and who's not. And I see Brockhoff can't make it and Bullard can't make it. So I'm like, process of elimination here. I think I'm starting this game.
Like backup of the backup.
Backup to the backup to the backup. Now, granted, at that point in time, I was only the backup to the backup.
Hey.
So process of elimination. I'm like, I think I'm starting this game. And then Reiki texts me. He goes, Brockhoff and Bullard can't make it. You're behind the dish.
Hey.
So not only had I not played organized baseball in 13 years, the first game on this team that I have not been a part of, you're like, guess you're going. So that was one where, like, I was prepared, but I don't think that I was fully prepared.
That's like in the NHL where, like, the 2 goalies get injured and all of a sudden the equipment guy has got to put on the gear and go out there.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But I mean, thankfully, I'm one that learns by just being thrown in the fire. So it wasn't something that I was nervous about, but it was just like you got to go. So we went, and that game had a strong Wind to every part of the outfield.
I struggled in left field.
If I remember correctly, there were 8 home runs that game.
Agri had a grand slam.
And
Lucas allowed one, or didn't you allow a grand slam?
I don't remember if it was a grand slam. I know I gave up a home run because I remember I pitched it and the guy hit it. And you can tell as a pitcher, like, did this guy get a hold of this thing or not? And when I pitched it and he hit it, I'm like, I really didn't get a lot of that. Like, I didn't think he got, like, he didn't hit it well.
And it was windy.
And it kept going to left field, and Nick was playing left. And I just see him go back, and I'm like, okay, maybe he's just trying to get camped under it. And then he keeps going, and I'm like, okay, you can stop at any point now.
Almost ran through the fence.
And then and then the fence was like right there, and then it snuck over. So a home run's a home run, as we've said. But yeah, that was one of the more confusing ones because I did not think that was a home run when he made contact with it.
No, that was one of those games where the wind was straight at my back.
Yeah.
And usually that benefits a hitter. I mean, you hit a ball thin, and it has a chance to go. But I think the final score of that game was like 15-13.
It was, it was a cluster.
Trust me, I have had a lot of first games of the season, and they are all ugly. But that one, there was like at least some decent hitting. But like I remember we played Glencoe one time. Dude, there was probably like 25 runs scored on like 10 hits. It was just hit batters and walks and errors. It was so bad. At least that game was like, it was kind of Mickey Mouse offense with the wind and the fences being so short, but it was better than most games. But yeah, the over under in an A's first game of the season run total is like 20.
Yeah,
hammer
always
the
over.
Hammer
Always
the
over.
Iowa football game or A's first game of the season. Yeah, you're definitely taking A's first game of the season.
Love the subtle
absolutely.
shot at Iowa too.
Screw Iowa.
Yeah, but anyways, no, yeah, keep me going on that.
So I guess
progression through the rest of the season. Then.
Yeah, being thrown into the fire right away is like I mean I kind of didn't know my place right away either. But towards the end of the season, I'm looking at the games that I've played. It's like, okay, so there are the league games, and also not knowing really which games are important. It's coming in with no real known structure of how Townball actually works, and realizing that the league games are far more important than the non-league games.
Right. Yeah, the non-league games literally basically don't mean anything.
Correct. They're basically just exhibition games. They're so much fun. And that's why like now, especially now, knowing my place of being a primarily non-league game catcher. So I get to play in the fun games. And then I get to watch genuinely some of the most competitive baseball that I've ever watched. Like our squad this year was so much fun to be a part of.
Yeah, it was a good year.
Because we were in almost every single game. We really only had 2 games that really got away from us.
The Bell playing home game.
The Bell playing home game, which hurts my Jordan Knight's soul.
Yeah, that was so bad. What
Correct.
was the score?
It was 20-5.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it was 20-5.
It might as well have been like 45-2.
Correct.
It was
and it was such a long game.
Yeah, and that was right after we beat Gaylord, I think, it was the second time.
Was right after a very emotional Gaylord win.
Yeah.
And it just it was one of those, it was the perfect storm of, we had just come off that game that everybody on the team wants to win. And we win it. We sneak by them. Did we? Or was that the game that we...
That would have been after the home game, I think. Which we kind of had an early lead, and then they started getting back.
Yeah.
That little chopper over third that I somehow got a double off of, and I think we won by like 2.
Yeah, I think it was like 13-9 or 13 to something like that. But we got off to a super big lead right away. And then they kind of chipped their way back. But so knowing that we had just come off of that game and then going into the Bell Plain game, which is another league game, it was kind of like we knew it was going to be tough because we had like 2 days in between. Not even, it was, I think the Gaylord game was on a Wednesday and the Bell Plain game was on a Friday. So
I think it was Friday, Sunday,
either way.
Because Gaylord's always on a Friday.
Yep. So one of those things where it was going to be a tough game.
Yeah.
But I was just, and then we lost by 15. So, but yeah, so going now knowing my place, I know that I'm going to get my opportunities to play, and then I'm going to be the first one out of the dugout after any good thing happens during the league games. And if I get the opportunity to play in a league game, I'll be there, because the best ability is availability.
Heck yeah, baby.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. No, I can definitely
catcher in the league too.
Someone's got to be.
Someone has to. Someone has to.
Although Lucas has good work at doing that too.
Depends on who's going into the bullpen and what side of the dugout they're on. Because Lucas and I sit on opposite sides of the dugout.
Yep.
Not intentionally. It's just kind of an unspoken rule that everybody has their spot in the dugout. For my first year on the team, I always sat to Trevor Schrupp's right. But Schrupp has now switched to a Prior Lake team. So it was forever. It was me, Trevor Schrupp, and Dan Chess. So basically, I have just taken Schrupp's place, and I sit right next to Dan. And he and I just sit there and shit talk the other team to no end. But so really it depends on who is going to the bullpen, what pitcher is going to the bullpen, kind of determines who the bullpen catcher is going to be. If it's somebody down on Lucas's side, it's probably going to be Lucas.
Yeah.
But if it's somebody else, it probably will be me. But someone's got to do it, and I will gladly take that responsibility.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
Correct. It gets me to move around just a little bit.
It ain't much, but it's honest work.
No, I can relate with you a little bit though on the not really fully understanding it all mindset with it.
Well, I was actually gonna ask, I had played Townball for probably 7 or 8 years already, and then I'm like, Lucas, you used to play baseball. You want to play town team? He's like, yeah, sure. I mean, why not? And then I was gonna ask you, what exactly were you expecting it to be?
Yeah, I don't know. I had also had a pretty decent sized gap in between when I had played last. Not as much as 13 years like Shane here, but the last organized baseball that I had ever played was senior year of high school, and so that was 2015 is when I graduated high school. And then I didn't play at all the 4 years that I was at Bethany, and then I moved back home to Colorado. And then so I didn't start playing again until 2021. So it was like a 6-year difference in between when I had last played competitively to then. And so, it's something that I had always heard about, helping out, being a student manager on the Bethany baseball team, being a lot of Minnesota guys on that team. They talk about it all the time. I never knew what any of them were talking about. I would hear oh, such and such team, how did you do against this team? And I'm just sitting there deer in the headlights. I don't know what any of this means. I have no idea what any of that means. So I didn't really know what to expect. I guess, a mixture of college ball and high school, because that was the last thing that I'd seen, and coming in, it was different. It was just completely different. It was, you're playing to win. Nobody's going to play a sport to lose, so there's that competitive side of it. But also then at the end of the day, Shane, you hit the nail on the head, right away. At the end of the day, everyone here has a 9-to-5 job, or a job that they do during the day that you may or may not even like. And they know at the end of the day, they can go play baseball with the boys, crack open a few, Mick Goldens, and have a good time with it.
Lucas,
come on, you gotta say Grain Belt Premium Light, man.
I always think of what Lucas says, when we're comparing, say, Barry Bonds or Trout or something to Babe Ruth, and Lucas is oh yeah, well, he did it against Babe Ruth did it against a bunch of plumbers and whatever. And it's Basically,
We are the plumbers.
That's
Correct.
basically what we are. We're the plumbers and the electricians and the Walmart DC associates that just work our 8 or 10 hour shift and come act like we are a decent baseball player and stretch a little bit and call it good.
Yep.
Right. But no, off of that though, I mean, coming in, I had a lot of, it was tough. It was tough for me to try and get over that mental hurdle of, okay, nobody on this team has ever seen me play baseball before.
Yeah, I hadn't even seen you play before.
You hadn't even seen. Nobody had ever seen. So, I definitely put a ton of just an absurd amount of pressure on myself right away to try and do well, because this was the only baseball that anyone on the team was going to see me do. So like the first few times that I came in and played my very first year was awful. Like it looked like I had never touched a baseball in my life. I couldn't throw a strike.
Who was your catcher the first time? Braca?
What's that?
Who was your catcher the first time? First time you pitched?
Oh man. The very first time. Obviously, Shane wasn't there. Wouldn't have been Austin. I don't think it would have been Lucas.
Was
like Scotty Holmquist?
I was gonna say Holmquist.
Oh, because he didn't come till like the playoffs that year.
Huh.
I don't remember.
Yeah.
But just was struggling a ton, and I I thought like, man, everyone's gonna hate this dude from another state, because there's nothing like this in Colorado. Like there's no town ball. You have like your Sunday league men's, church league that, Grandpa Joe comes to, that nobody cares about. You're gonna get 5 fans showing up to the game. And this has just been an otherworldly experience, but I can relate in the manner of like, I don't think I really truly understood. Like, this is a lot of towns' life. Like, town ball is what some of these towns, like, that is their thing. Like, that is their thing. And,
Yes.
I don't think I really understood that, going into it. I just like, I'm out here to play baseball and I'm doing my thing. And obviously not being from the town, like, that would make sense. But, it just was a ton of fun. And like you said, baseball at its purest form. And it probably took me until, this third year now, so 2023 was my third year on the team. I think now I kind of then started to realize like, okay, like people are starting to recognize who I am, which I always thought was fantastic. Like I don't play for myself. Like I'm not I'm not that kind of guy. And so for other people to recognize that was super cool. And so that kind of added another layer of it for me. Like, hey, if these random folks that have lived in Arlington their entire life can care about somebody that's not even from this state, how they do, was super cool. And so that kind of made me want to now like, how can I insert myself more? How can I become more into this? And so it's cool.
So Lucas, put in perspective, like obviously, yes, we're amateur baseball. We're not even, we're not the Mankato Moondogs or Northwood Leagues or whatever. But every once in a while, we'll have a Wednesday night non-league game with like 2 away fans and like 20 home fans, right? But sometimes you get some good crowds,
right?
Especially like you're Friday night against Gator. Well, to put it in perspective, the state tournament this year, I'm a Minnesota Baseball Association Twitter. Final state tournament attendance, 28,007.
That's amazing.
Most in history. And on one of the days, there was 1,909 for the Class C championship game. Almost 2,000 people for the championship game, which was the largest single-day crowd since 1996. I mean, 2,000 people. Yeah, I know there's 40,000 in MLB Stadium, but 2,000 people for a baseball game. That's a big crowd, man.
To watch a bunch of plumbers and painters and car salesmen come play baseball.
That's a big crowd, and some people
to know that
very seriously.
Yep. Almost a few thousand people to come watch people play that are not that are not profiting off of
Like,
this at all. They're playing because they enjoy the game.
I've told people before, you know, there's a lot of days, you know, there's days I look forward to. Like, I mean, I love Christmas. I love March Madness. I said my favorite day of the year is the first Gaylord game. I know that's not even the game in Arlington. It's the game in Gaylord, but it's the first one of the year. And honestly, I think it's more heavily attended most of the time because, no offense, Gaylord, but our fans travel a little better. And it's the game I look forward to every year. It's like my favorite day of the year, the hog roast. And I look forward to that day. I mark it on my calendar. I think it's always the third. What is it? Is it the last Friday before the 4th or the first Friday after the 4th? Something like that. It's basically the same day every year.
I think that game is moved this year though.
Is it?
I think just for Uddy's wedding.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. So I look forward to that day every year. And like, for people who don't know, the Arlington Gaylord rivalry, I mean,
Goes deep.
to me, I mean, it's Yankees, Red Sox, it's Duke, North Carolina, it's everything. The two Gaylord games are basically the playoffs. Obviously, I want to win the playoff games, but like, it's like I look at a Gopher season. I hope you do really good, but if you beat Iowa and Wisconsin, I could at least be happy with it. If we beat Gaylord, I'm all right.
Vikings, Packers. It's
Yes.
it's Dolphins, whoever the hell your rival is.
Patriots, I guess.
New
I
England?
don't know. Yeah.
Dolphins.
Yeah. Yeah. No, absolutely. And kind of to answer your question, Nick, that was a really long-winded thing for me to get to the point of what I was trying to answer. what was that there isn't anything like it. Like it's its own thing, and it's not even comparable to anything else. Like it's its own thing. There's never been anything like that I've ever done baseball-wise in my life that compares to it.
Yeah, for instance, like my senior year, we had a pretty good high school season. Well, we started off really, really good. Like 8-1, beat the number 2 team ranked in state. Unfortunately, it ended kind of sour. We literally finished with like a 500 record and got bounced right away. But like, and I'm not one to get super emotional anyways, but like, it didn't even really affect me that much because I knew I had town team afterwards, right? I'm like, I'll never play a high school baseball game again. This kind of sucks, but look, I got town team games to play for a long time, and town team's really fun. So I'm not gonna let this get at me. I get to go play Gaylord twice a year for like 15 years yet.
Well, and that's one thing too. For as serious as we take it, and all of the teams in our league take it, it's also not that serious. Right.
Oh my God, I'm so glad you said that.
So, I mean, for example, I've done mound visits with both of you. And I always end the visit with, hey, it's just baseball. It's not that serious.
Yeah. So,
right.
Sorry to interrupt, but like, I'm so glad you said that because I was thinking right before you said it. I mean, you guys would know better than me what's said, but like, so I used to play short all the time, right? Now I'm in the outfield. Well, short, you can clearly see. I'm like paying attention. I'm not paying attention until that ball is being thrown. Like I just don't have. I'm kicking dirt. I'm looking at.
Yeah, we
I
know.
turn around and look at the scoreboard.
There's a butterfly flying by your face.
Like, Tico. I can just imagine the things Alex is probably saying in the dugout before.
It's a lot of. Where does he go?
Yeah. And every single player who gets to second base, I am having a conversation with. I will admit, there's maybe 2 or 3 times where I was probably out of position because I was talking to a guy. But for the most part, trust me, I'm ready. When the pitch is coming, I'll be ready. But it's like, I like town team because it's serious. Like, we care about this, and like it matters. But at the same time, at least for me, I don't take it super, super ultra serious like some people. It's like, understand, we're not major league players. We're not minor league players. We're just here to have fun. I'm here to have a good time. You know, hopefully get some hits. Hopefully we win. But, you know,
while trying as hard as you can to.
Exactly. There's enough care to really want to win and competitive nature. But at the same time, you can just relax and like not get so worked up about it. You know, it's just a game, and it's like the best of both worlds.
It's a really good balance of fun and competitive.
And then the camaraderie after the game. Like, I know I don't join in as much as some because I don't drink much, but not that you have to. But like tournaments, everybody's just emptying the keg, playing some Hammerschlagen, doing
I
whatever they're doing.
I can't tell you how many times I've been at the ballpark after a game and I look at my phone. It's 2:30 in the morning.
Well, especially like the Friday night games,
I have to be at work in 5 hours. I have to walk home and then walk to the ballpark in the morning to get my vehicle.
By the way, Lucas, I feel we need to do a shout out. So if nobody knows, Shane, what is your occupation?
I'm a painter.
Shane is a painter, and recently he did a lot of work at the Arlington A's ballpark. Anybody who hasn't seen it, go check it out. It's a very nice ballpark, and I believe the dugouts you just painted, and a lot of around like the grandstand and whatnot. Correct.
The dugouts we did in it was before the Gaylord game, so it was in season. We did the dugouts. We took a weekend, knocked out the dugouts. Before then, we did the secondary press box. We did that roof because it really needed it. After the season ended, we did the grandstands, and then just a few weeks ago, I did the press box.
So thanks for that. You made it look much better.
Yeah, very happy to lend
Shane does good work.
So Shane, if you want to quick plug your business.
Gotta get a plug in here. Shane.
So my name is Shane Olson. I'm the owner of Onward Painting and Finishing, serving the Sibley, Scott, and Hennepin County areas. My website is www.onwardmn.com. I am an exclusively interior repainter. I would much rather provide a friendly contractor experience dealing with homeowners than builders. No offense to builders, I just don't like your timelines. So if you are in the need of residential repainting, interior repainting, you can find more information at www.onwardmn.com.
Lucas, this is awesome. I feel like we have a sponsor now.
I might just sponsor the podcast.
Yeah, you want to sponsor the podcast?
I feel like I can give you $40 and get a pretty decent sponsorship out of that.
Shane, since we get like 1 million viewers every video,
that's what I'm saying.
Your phone's just gonna be off.
Yeah.
Like,
you're gonna have to expand to at least Blue Earth
by
County.
3 o'clock tomorrow. You're gonna be like, I'm sorry. I don't have enough paintbrushes and enough hands to paint. I'm sorry.
Listen, if I can get one from this, well worth the time invested in hanging out with you guys.
Next week or two or even a month, you get one person to call and say, yeah, I heard about you through the Dorton and Doetkott podcast, you will make my day.
Use the promo code Kepler. Get 10% off your first talk. Kepler.
That's funny.
That's good stuff.
Oh man, this is great.
But anywho, back to baseball. After the plug there, appreciate that, Shane. That was good. Good stuff. So what's the role for the future? What are we thinking? What are we working on in the off season right now? What are some things we're trying to get better on? Because everyone has their things. I know I'm working on things. Nick is working on what candy he's bringing to the field next year, probably. What are some things here?
Working on the hair, dude.
So I mean, for me, it's like I really like. I mean, there are 1,000 things that I could work on.
Right.
Anyone. Yeah. Repetition behind the plate, repetition at the plate. A big thing is like for me, it's a confidence thing. I will fully admit, for 2.5 months of the season, I had the yips.
Yeah.
It's first game that I played of the year. I got beat up behind the plate, just completely derailed my confidence, and then basically, I forgot how to throw a baseball.
Yeah, the back to the pitcher.
Yeah, I just forgot how to. I can't explain it. The only thing that makes sense is that it was yips, as physically the arm was fine. I mean, towards the end of the season, the elbow was a little more sore than usual. There was some
major leaguers. Chuck with something like that.
So really, it's like, and I am a huge mental health advocate. So it's coming to terms with, this is a mental thing. So it's back to 100% basics, learning how to throw a baseball, which sounds in theory and in principle sounds really easy, but then it's one of the things where when it comes to game time, it just gets weird.
Right.
So it's repetition with that and slowing everything way down and refocusing and all the, I mean, primarily it's like, I would just like to not be a liability when I'm batting. And maybe go for a run every once in a while and just remember how to run too.
Hey, you had a nice clutch hit against somebody at the end of the season last year.
It was my one and only RBI of the year.
What game was that?
It was Glencoe.
Yeah, that was a clutch hit.
Technically,
right at the gut.
Yep. So technically, we won that game.
Oh, that's right. That was like the
rain delay in the 7th. I had an RBI single, right? It was a little blooper right over the second baseman. I thought he was going to catch it, and suddenly the ball hit the ground, and Brockhoff is peeling around third base. But it's also
and Shane
one of the
was
things,
almost halfway to first at this point.
Shut up.
He might have been out of the batter's box by then.
I'm gonna start using Vico's nickname for it if you don't be quiet.
Hey.
I'm just kidding. No, so it's one of the things too. It's I'm not the fastest guy, but as soon as the ball hits the bat, I'm running as hard as I can. I'm not gonna get there quick, but I'm gonna run through it, and I'm gonna run through the bag.
Yeah.
But yeah, so going back to your question after my long-winded ass answer. So really just repetition, rebuilding the confidence that I know that I know it's there. It's just a matter of working on it. And I'd like to try to be a better hitter.
Well, and honestly, like for anybody who's played baseball, they know. I mean, I do think baseball is one of the hardest sports there is. Honestly, I'm absolutely terrible at golf. The ball's not even moving and I can't hit it, and I can hit a baseball. But they always say the hardest thing to do in sports is hit a baseball, right? Well, like you can go months without shooting a basketball, and it typically doesn't take you too long to find your shot again if you were a good shooter. You can, like a really good quarterback, they can take months off and they're going to find it pretty fast. In baseball, you go like 5 days without swinging a bat, and it's like you've never swung it before. Baseball is a sport. It's all about repetition and practice, and like you lose baseball fast. And we play 24-ish games a year, and like for the beginning of the season, it's one time a week, and then maybe 2 or 3 times a week after that. It's hard to stay in it, and like baseball's a game of slumps, right? Major league players play 162 games a year. The guy who won the batting title at say 320 probably had a month where they batted like 240. Well, a month is our whole season. A month's worth of games in the major leagues is our whole season, right? So it's easy to get down on yourself, and you just got to remind yourself, like, this is only it's honestly a small sample size. It's all we get, and it's hard. Like it's not easy. I don't care if he's throwing 55 right down the pipe. Like,
right.
So it's easy. The confidence is huge, especially for me. It's something I've always battled with, and you just got to remind yourself this game's not easy, especially for us when we don't play it all the time. It'll come, you know.
Well, and especially like going back to what we just said too. It's like it's just baseball. It's not that serious.
Right. Yeah.
It's really like trying to instill that as a principle, while also maintaining that competitive edge, is a really it's a very, very fine line and a very specific dance to do that too, to marry those two. And especially in, like you said, the small sample size that we have 24, 25 games to have a good year.
Yeah.
So it's kind of making the most of every opportunity, especially for Dorton and I, guys that are not every day, every game players.
Yeah.
You're right.
So then suddenly that 25 game sample size is probably more like 12. Right. So for us to be able to come in and have good games after maybe not playing for a week and a half or 2 weeks,
you know,
it makes
I'll
it just
be honest,
a little
I
bit
should have
tough.
realized that, but I never really, I never really thought of it. Like, yeah, like I'm fortunate enough to start every game.
Yeah, we get it, man. You start, you're good.
I mean, Lucas got
okay, Doetkott, starter.
Like, yeah, especially like when you guys go up to the plate, it's like, God, sometimes I feel like I'm rusty at the plate after a week, and Lucas, I think his first at bat, you probably hadn't seen the plate in 10 months. It's like, I can't imagine, you know?
Oh, yeah.
Can't be easy.
Yeah. Yeah, I get it. I don't hit well. Thank you.
It's all right. Only you shut out Prior Lake, Lucas. Only you.
Correct.
That's true.
That was a hell of a week for you too.
What was Mitchell Wenstoff's over under for you?
The over under was 4.5 hits, and I gave up 4. I gave up 4 hits.
In a 5-inning, 10-run shutout, baby.
That's amazing.
And that was the first game, the very first game of the friendly tournament. And I remember I had something else going on that weekend. So that was the literal only game I was going to be able to be at the entire
tournament. You
tournament.
had absolutely no idea or assumption that you were going to be pitching that game.
And not only that,
no chance.
But that weekend, your basketball team, the Denver Nuggets, won the title.
Was it that weekend?
Yes.
That's
I specifically remember, like, that was a hell of a weekend for you.
That was a great week.
Yeah.
Why'd you have to remind me of that, Shane? That's the team that beat the Lakers. Shrek.
That's great.
Screw the Nuggets. I'm now a salty Nuggets hater now, so that's enough of that banter for this episode.
No. Go Nuggets. Anyways, no, I remember going into it, you know, typically a lot of the times, you know, if you're pitching on the A's, you can usually have an idea like, okay, this guy went for this guy against this team. This guy pitched to this team. So given the circumstances, usually you can somewhat like have a educated guess on who's going for that game. But at the end of the day, you don't know until you get to the park. And I did not expect myself to pitch at all. Like maybe come out of the bullpen. I did not expect to start at all. And, you know, I'm standing outfield and Reiche's like, "You're going." And I'm like, okay. And everything that I had heard, like, oh, this team just wallops the ball. They are like, they hit really well. Like they've typically done pretty well in the friendly tournament in the past. And I'm just like, okay, hearing all of that, I kind of went into the game thinking like, there's a high chance I might get absolutely shelled here. Very high chance I might just get rocked. And yeah, Mitchell Wentzlaff set the over under of hits given up for me at 4.5. And I'm like, well, you know, gotta hammer the under on that. And so I only gave up 4.
Great line, Mitchell Wentzlaff. Shout out to Mitch.
That's honest. That's a very good line.
Dude is just a sports betting mind.
That was a great mind. It's a great mind. Definitely gonna have to have him on the pod for
sure. By the way, they made state in Class B. So.
You did. So I mean, you beat a good team.
So clearly, Lucas should have been drafted to a Class B team.
Obviously, probably that Class B.
Yeah, right. Why not take the competition? You know.
Yeah. I'll just put in my resume for next year. For anyone that needs a 65-mile-an-hour fastball and a 50-mile-an-hour curveball, I'm your guy. I
can't wait for Lucas to come out next year, just to start ripping like 85.
How scale of 1 to 10? How I know we still have Thanksgiving next week to look forward to. We still have Christmas to look forward to. New Year's. After New Year's, how quickly do you guys get excited for the first game of the year?
I'll be completely honest. Baseball wasn't really on my mind until we started this podcast. Now I want to go play baseball, man.
You're damn right.
But like for sure, once the Super Bowl is done, I'm like, all right, please give me some baseball. But
baseball season.
I get pretty antsy.
Spring training's right around the corner.
Yeah, it's one of the things too. It's you know, in March we have our big fundraiser of the year. Yeah. And that's kind of like the official, unofficial kickoff to the season. Yeah. Where it's like it's for most of us, it's the first time that we've seen each other since the last game of the year.
Right.
Decent amount of us, yeah.
So it's that kind of like
Especially
that.
for Nick and I being in Mankato too.
Right. And so it's that, we get there, we're dapping each other up, like, how was your winter? Do this, blah, blah, blah. And then we sling breakfast for 6 hours. So
Yep.
for that, it's like that is kind of always I say, that's like the unofficial kickoff to the season. And then this year, which we haven't talked about yet, we get to go to Iowa to play baseball.
Yeah, waiting for that plug.
To play baseball at the Field of Dreams, which is
how pumped are you for
the coolest thing.
Right. So
that's going to be a real experience.
Yeah, Lucas, I think you should explain to anybody who's watching what's going on, the whole Field of Dreams game.
Yeah, so your Arlington A's are going to be playing a Townball baseball game on the Field of Dreams. I even say Field of Dreams. Why does it sound familiar? Have you heard of a guy named Kevin Costner before? Well, Shane, thank you. I'm glad that you asked that question. He's only one of the more popular actors ever. Has been in a ton of sports movies, some baseball movies, but he is also the guy in Billy Chapel. Absolutely. Great Paul. Yes. He's also in the Field of Dreams movie. If you build it, they will come, right? All the guys coming out. Shoeless Joe Jackson coming out of the corn. Well, folks, that will be your Arlington A's next year playing on the Field of Dreams in Iowa. May 18th, I believe, is the date for that, if I'm not mistaken.
So, Saturday, May 18th against the Prior Lake Mudcats.
So we're with former Arlington A, Trevor Schrupp. Mm-hmm. So we're playing on like the movie field, right?
Correct.
Yep.
All right, so Lucas, you've got to ask Recchi what inning you're entering. And I just want you to sit in a chair in the cornfield. And when you get called upon, you just come running out of the corner center field. And that's your entrance.
That's such a good idea.
Running, actually not even running. You just come out of the corn like they did in the movie, and you take your spot on that mound and you just dice. That would be epic.
That would be so good.
That would be pretty baller.
Epic.
Okay.
Yeah, but yeah, so that I mean for in terms of a town ball thing that I never really expected to do. To not only to play at the Field of Dreams, but also to go play baseball in a different state.
I've never been there before.
Right. I think that'll be a super cool experience, especially for us as a team too. Get some weird little team bonding going on in there too. I think it'll be a really cool experience.
When they said we were playing at Field of Dreams, I'm like, huh? What? No way. And then sure enough, I'm like, no, dude, this is legit.
It's gonna be cool.
That's sweet.
Yeah, that's gonna come faster than you think it might too. That's gonna be right around the corner.
6 months away. It's literally 6 months away.
It's the weekend of my dad's 60th birthday.
Happy birthday, Keith.
Happy birthday, Keith.
Yeah. No, great point though. No, that'll be a great time. That'll be a great time. As far as town ball stuff, Shane, what are some other things we missed that you want to talk about?
So Nick brought up the state tournament earlier. Mm-hmm. This year, the Minnesota Baseball Association is celebrating the 100th.
That's right.
State amateur baseball tournament.
That's right.
Jordan, Belle Plaine, Green Isle are the host sites. It is when is it? Hang on.
It's the
August.
It's 3 weekends and it ends on Labor Day. So
yep. So end of August, first weekend of September.
Last 2 weekends of August, first one of September.
I'm very biased because it's Jordan hosting. No wait. Is it? Is this year the 100th or was last year the 100th?
See, I thought Jordan was supposed to have the 100th, but then I'm almost positive they said last year was the 100th. So,
okay.
So I'm not really sure, but it is definitely Jordan this year.
Right. Really, the big thing is if you've never been to a state tournament or a state tournament weekend, whether you go one day or go every day, it's super important to go see. It's very important to the players. Really, really good for the community that gets to host it. And just all around, it's a cool experience that I think everybody should at least go to, just to see what Townball actually is, because I do believe that state tournament is the culmination of what Townball means to the state.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I said, it being fairly close, it'll be fairly close this year. I mean, I plan on going. I mean, Jordan hosted the regionals for our RVL or 1360 or whatever, and I was busy doing something else, but Lucas was at Jordan.
I was there too.
You were too, right?
I was.
You guys were there all day. Yeah, especially if you get good weather, it's a nice time.
Got to watch a 14-inning game between Lesueur and Blue Earth.
That's right.
Yeah, 14 straight innings.
And like, there's been some crazy stuff to have in state tournament games. There was one guy who graduated from Norwood the same year I did. I played against him a lot. He was like a 7-hit game in a state tournament game once. I think that same team one year would have had a walk-off, but the dude, while like celebrating, never touched home to take them out. The game continued. There's been some, I mean, obviously I'm just saying there's a lot of games played and there's a lot of crazy stuff I've seen, and you just never know what you're going to see. And there's some good town team baseball players. I know I've been stressing, we're not major leaguers, we're not minor leaguers, but there's some really good ball players out there, and you'll see some good baseball at the state tournament. You really will.
Yeah, that's one thing. It's like we're not professional ball players, but it's good, competitive, high quality baseball in its buzzword in its purest form.
Yeah.
So it's if you don't want to drive to Minneapolis to see the Twins, St. Paul to see the Saints, walk down the street and you'll probably find yourself at a Townball game.
Right.
Yeah.
They're very easy to find. And I know I love when our stands are packed on a Friday night.
It's
the best.
It makes it so much more fun to play.
Correct.
When you see fans. That's why I appreciate the fans we have. Like I know I said there's some Wednesday night games where there's barely anybody in the crowd. But honestly, even the Wednesday night games, there's a lot more people in the crowd than I expect a lot of times. And we have some true loyal fans. And if there's nobody there, not a soul, I mean, obviously, it's still fun to play, but it's like, who are we really playing for, right? When there's people there, people care about you. Some rando,
right,
not even that great at baseball, going to play baseball, and they like actually care to watch you. It makes you kind of proud, right? It's like, oh, okay, I want to perform for you guys.
Yeah,
and it makes it
absolutely.
It's a good time, especially like I feel like I let them down, and if it's a Friday night game with a bunch of people there, like I put some pressure on myself. Like I don't want to let these people down. I want to give them a show, and our fans do a great job of giving you a pat on the back at the end of the game too. Like they do a really good job, and it's honestly it's just good to see. It's really, it makes you feel pretty good at the end of the day.
I think that kind of aha moment for me was after, I think it was the friendly game, when like all of there's just so many kids there and they wanted our autographs. They wanted, they were like, oh, you were the pitcher, right? Like, can I get your autograph? And I'm just sitting here thinking, like, you want my autograph. Like, that is not going to mean anything. It's probably devaluing whatever I'm putting it on, honestly.
Yep. Going back to the beginning of the pod, when we were talking about my growing up at the Mini-Met, right? I was one of those kids who after the game, you'd run out onto the field, run around the base paths, go and get the autographs from these ball players, not understanding that they're just guys who play baseball after they go to work every day. But I mean, like, they were like idols. It's like you think about that. It's like they're going to go to work the next day, but I don't know that. And these kids don't know that either. So for kids to be able to be involved like they are, it's invaluable.
Right.
To them as sports fans and future Townball players.
Yeah, I kind of forgot to mention that what Lucas is saying. I remember that game. I think that was after the Prior Lake game, Lucas. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh, maybe that's what you said. You said the friendly. I was thinking the Gaylor game, but yeah, the friendly tournament. Yeah, it was after the Prior Lake game. There was a lot of kids there watching, and there was a couple of kids who who wanted to my autograph. I'm like, I don't even remember what I did that game. I probably sucked. I'm like, my autograph. I want pictures with you, and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. And I remember my mom and my grandparents were there, and they thought it was so cool. I'm like, yeah, this is a first. I'm like, am I like a Major League Baseball player or something? Kids are looking up to me. This is cool.
And it's not only is it good for the kids, but it's also kind of good for us too, to realize that we're not just going just because. It's like there is that little bit of a performance that you want to put on that I think is just kind of ingrained in all of us. Just kind of knowing that there is the opportunity for a crowd to be there, for 40, 50, 60, 70, 100 people to come and be at this baseball game. And you do want to put on that show for them. You want to make their $5 or $7 that they spent to get in worth it.
And when we're old dudes who just, stumble on over the baseball field, that's the kids we'll be watching one day. So.
Correct.
Yep.
Showing us how it's done.
Yep. Absolutely. No, mentioning the parents and stuff going to watch too. I think it'll be pretty cool for me, especially too, for this Field of Dreams game, because my family obviously living in Colorado, they're not going to drive to Arlington 13 hours away on a Friday night, to come watch me maybe play.
Come on. Where's the dedication, Chris and Pam?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's true. So I think this is going to be super cool to me, this Field of Dreams game, because we're playing enough Field of Dreams, but this is going to be the first time that my family will have ever seen me play baseball since I was in high school, since I was a senior in high school.
That's really cool.
So that'll be super fun and a super special moment for sure, for that. So definitely looking forward to that for that reason too. But
again, that is May 18th in Dryersville, Iowa, at the Field of Dreams.
Yep. Marking on the calendar, folks. Marking on the calendar.
That's probably what, our fourth game? Third?
It's very close. It's very close to the beginning of the season.
Heck, who knows?
Not the first one, though.
Nope, not the first one.
With weather, it could be. You never know.
By May, I think it should be fine.
I would think.
Yeah, because I think
really know in this.
Right. I think the first game is usually scheduled for the middle or mid end of April.
Yeah, it's
and those first couple games are always a little dicey. There still might be some snow on the field.
Yeah.
The Dose boys will just have to get to the field a little bit early, work a little bit harder.
Shout out to the Dose boys and Nady Thomas for doing all that work.
Yeah. Good stuff. Well, what are some other final thoughts? Anyone have anything else to add here? Had a good show so far.
Yeah, I didn't realize this, but we've been on for an hour and a half already.
Yeah. The Dorton Doetkott debate has a tendency to
be just a little long-winded.
This is one of the most fun I've had on a podcast.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know. Yeah, it's just I wasn't thinking a whole lot about baseball recently, but now I'm definitely looking forward to it. But I
getting that itch.
I plan on getting out and at least working the wing a little bit earlier than I normally do. I tell you what, when I was in high school playing town team, it was so easy. I had played for 2 months, but everybody else is just getting back into it. Now, once you're out of high school, you're like, oh, this is kind of hard. My arm, I got to get this thing in shape, man.
You're telling me.
Yeah. So I'm going to try to get ahead of it this year. And yeah, I'm just looking forward to it.
Just stamina wise too. I remember there was a couple times last year at the beginning of the season where I'd go and pitch and Reiki would be like, "Are you tired?" I'm like, "No." Like I sweat so much because I'm just so not in shape. Like I feel like a Rollish Chapman when I walk out onto the mound, just dripping in sweat, and I've thrown 3 pitches. And I'm like, I know it looks the part, but I promise you I'm okay.
Yeah, that's honestly, one thing.
Yeah, go ahead.
Lucas, you and I got together a couple weeks ago and just threw for an hour and a half or something like that. And we kind of talked about it. It's like, I want to make a concerted effort throughout the winter to find an indoor space to throw in like once a month. Yeah. Just so that way the arm doesn't just sit on the shelf for the winter. Yeah. And then I forget how to throw all over again. So even if it's short toss, 30 feet in between for an hour, it's just that way that memory will just stay there. It's I will hopefully be able to kind of keep improving, and just that constant improvement mentality going into next year and make the year just a little bit better.
Yeah. But no, so I guess my final thoughts would just be like, yeah, this is fun. I now have an itch for baseball again. Looking forward to it. And boys, what do you say? I know it's been since the Arlington A's last hosted state in 2009. It's also the last time we made it. We had a very good team. We lost to St. Cloud Orthopedic. I wasn't on the team, but we lost 2-0 to St. Cloud Orthopedic, the eventual state champion. It's been a while, but hey, the Twins drought was longer. Let's not let it get that far. We're on the rise. Let's go win in Iowa. Let's go win in Minnesota, and let's make state this year, boys.
I couldn't have said it better.
Let's do it.
I'm calling it right now. We are playing baseball in August.
Yes.
We are playing baseball in August this year.
Late August.
I can't wait. Sweet.
I wish I had folks, the new jerseys with the train on it to show the A train coming.
They look so good.
Right.
I can't.
They look so good.
I can't wait for those things.
Anyways, folks, thank you for listening to this episode. If you want to follow Nick or I on Twitter, you can follow myself, Lucas_Dorton. You can follow Nick at Doetkott. Shane, is there anywhere where the fans can find you to find your very, very passionate? I feel as if I'm looking in a mirror anytime I see your tweets or your posts go out on X.
You guys honestly look like you.
I have a great Twitter story real quick.
It's X now. Get it right.
Sorry, X. I'm not calling it X. It's Twitter forever.
Same, honestly.
So, I am a very passionate Minnesota sports fan, right? Sometimes I say some things, maybe just a little cold-spirited, mean-spirited, whatever.
Not you.
So I found out the other day that the president of the Minnesota Twins, Dave St. Peter, blocked me on Twitter.
That is what you have achieved in life, Shane.
Correct. So I got married. I got married in September, right? So there's the best day of my life. Finding out that I'm blocked by the president of the Minnesota Twins is like right here. It's like real close.
Does this have something to do with like the payroll situation, or
maybe?
I'm so upset with that.
Maybe honestly, just spend some damn money.
If you're gonna drop the payroll for one, which is ridiculous, you finally break this postseason streak, get everybody all happy. And then you're gonna drop the payroll, like one, dumb, two. Why'd you tell everybody? Just
correct.
Just
I don't get it.
If they would have just not said anything, like I don't think they have. Like it's not like they're required to tell us. I mean, I guess maybe I could say, well, I hate the fact that you're dropping it, but I guess thanks for being honest. But like,
correct.
I'm shocked they said anything. If they wouldn't have said anything, I probably wouldn't have even noticed till halfway in the season. I would have just been like, why didn't we sign such and such? But oh yeah, now they're just irritated, a lot of us.
So in a league where you don't have a salary cap, right? You in theory you could spend. You're gonna hit luxury tax at some point in time, but you could spend $1 billion on your roster. And that's technically allowed. But instead, already the 17th highest payroll is going to drop after your most successful
season since 2002.
You won a playoff game for the first time in 18 years. Yeah. Why? You're just gonna that's good enough. Good enough. Dude.
Yeah. Don't tell me about it.
So what would be the Twitter handle to follow?
Anyway,
these kids?
all of my unhinged sports takes at not Shane Olson. All of my professional business takes is at Paint Onward. If you're looking for my spicy sports takes, do not go to the business page because it's very boring. But if you want to see me rant on Sundays about the Minnesota Vikings or during the baseball season, it's at not Shane Olson on Twitter.
How are you feeling about Dobbs, Shane?
Big fan. Having a mobile quarterback.
He's fun to watch.
I saw a tweet on Sunday. Kirk Cousins is a better quarterback. Yeah. Josh Dobbs is more fun to watch.
Oh, without a doubt.
Without a doubt.
Can't wait for that Vikings-Dolphins Super Bowl, huh?
Ooh.
Absolutely. But we will talk more about the football side of things after we finish recording here so we can wrap up the episode. So, once again, folks, Shane, thank you so much.
Thank you guys for having me.
Definitely
Shane.
We'll be coming back again, so we appreciate that for sure. But follow us, follow Shane, and just check out Townball during this next summer. You know, if you live in Colorado, I don't know what to tell you. Move out to Minnesota like I did, and then go watch Townball. If you live in Minnesota, I'm sure there's a Townball team right next to you, and you don't even know it. Go check it out. Baseball at its purest form. And, if you feel so obliged, come to an Arlington A's game. We'd love to.
You will have the best cheeseburger you've had for absolutely no reason.
Dude, Kurtzy burgers are so
honestly, they're
shout out Gary Kurtzwig.
And if paired up with a good old 1919 root beer, dude, I mean,
I genuinely think it might be the best burger I've had.
You get
Cowboy Jack's Minneapolis is top notch too, but
you get a fresh Kurtzy burger, an ice cold Grain Belt Premium Light, and the dulcet tones of Bob Thomas. There is not a better environment to be in.
Dude, in our words right out of my with mouth. Just the lights on in the background at night, it's just gorge.
Absolutely. Anyways, folks, thank you for listening to episode 75. And as for Nick, Shane, and myself, until next time, we are out.